Environmental, Social, and Corporate Governance, ESG. This is something you may have heard about from the news. ESG purports itself as being a ranking system designed to change the direction of corporations towards being more eco-friendly and socially conscious. Or, as is so often the case, is this just another example of radical ideas which sound nice on paper, but will have disastrous consequences for you? As time goes on, it's increasingly looking like it is. ESG is not implemented or regulated by governments. It's enforced by large investors and investment firms like BlackRock. That's critical because it means normal people, consumers like you, don't get a say in it. Major investment firms are adopting an ESG approach to decide what is good for them, not you, the company, or the environment. They then use trillions of dollars of market power to cut off companies which do not adopt their ESG standards from investment. These major investors don't necessarily understand the businesses they are forcing these standards upon. They just say do it or else. Canadian companies have no choice but to agree. They can't afford to be cut off. And the consequences get passed along to you, the consumer. Have you noticed how high gas prices are lately? It isn't a shock that these investment firms do not like the oil and gas that keeps our world running. Many energy companies are reliant on large investment firms to fund their operations, so they have no choice but to comply. Agriculture is another example. Big ESG investment firms don't understand agriculture, but they want to force every Canadian farmer to adopt their ESG standards anyway. This would essentially force farmers to reduce their production of, the food you eat. So what does it look like when unaccountable elites screw around with the energy grid and the food supply? You just look at Sri Lanka. The country is collapsing. They don't have enough food to feed their people or electricity to keep the lights on. Now, traditionally, regulating agriculture and energy have been the responsibility of governments. You might not always agree with what they do, but at least you get a say. Screwing with the food supply and energy supply are policies which are not typically all that popular with voters. And that's the essence of corporate social responsibility within the free market. Companies make our country a better place when they're held accountable to consumers. ESG is the opposite. ESG is a bunch of wealthy elites without skin in the game trying to accomplish with the power of their wallets what they can't accomplish at the ballot box. And they make them feel like they're saving the world, but it's the middle class who has to pay the price of it. Share this video. It's very important that you do.